In the 1930s, a young writer, Roberto Rossellini, was struggling to make his way in the Italian film industry. Cinema under Mussolini was an assembly line of idealized narratives about Italian life. But the young Rossellini, who was deeply anti-fascist, was drawn to everything the fascist filmmakers rejected: earthy, messy, real life. In September 1943, the Nazis seized control of Rome to prevent the city from falling into the hands of the Allies, who were battling their way up through the Italian peninsula. During the war, Rossellini joined the resistance movement in Rome and had to live by his wits as Nazi death squads prowled the city. This wartime experience became the inspiration for his second feature film, Rome, Open City. In January 1945, just 6 months after the Allied forces liberated the city from Nazi occupation, Rossellini and his small crew planted their cameras amidst the ruins of Rome and changed cinema forever. In early 1945, the film studios at Cinecittà had been turned into a refugee camp, so Rossellini was forced to shoot the film entirely on location. And this choice adds immeasurably to the film's power and authenticity. The plot of Rome Open City is quite straightforward. It's effectively a cat and mouse chase between the Nazis and a pair of fearless resistance fighters, Giorgio and Francesco, who are aided by the priest, Don Pietro, played by the great Aldo Fabrizi. The other lead is the incomparable Anna Magnani, who plays a widowed mother who is pregnant and about to marry resistance fighter Francesco.
Ma quando finirà? Ci sono dei momenti che non ne posso proprio più.
Rome in 1944 is a very dangerous place. The Nazis have spread their tentacles through society and have a vast network of spies and informants. Among them, Giorgio's girlfriend Marina.
Pronto? Ah, è lei. Buonasera. Come stai, cara? Aspettavo la tua telefonata. Come mai non sei solo? L'hai visto?
A big chunk of the film takes place on this street, Via Raimondo Montecuccoli. It's a bit of a mouthful. This is a neighbourhood just south of the city of the Via Prenestina.
Francesco! Pino! Francesco! Francesco Carogna! Francesco!
The death of Pina is one of those iconic moments in cinema that is seared into the collective imagination of the entire Italian nation. A daring rescue mission on the Via Cristoforo Colombo frees Francesco and Giorgio, but their freedom is short-lived. Following a tip-off from girlfriend Marina, both Don Pietro and Giorgio are arrested on Via Casalina. And then they are brought here to this building behind me on Via Tasso in San Giovanni. This was Nazi HQ during the 9-month occupation.
Questi uomini che preparano attentati e sabotaggi contro le forze armate germaniche violano i diritti di una potenza occupante garantiti dai trattati internazionali. Sono perciò dei franchi tiratori e devono essere consegnati alla giustizia. Chiaro?
The figure of Major Bergman in Rossellini's film is modelled on real-life Nazi Herbert Kappler. He was head of command of the operation in Rome. Now, even by Nazi standards, this guy was a piece of work. He was responsible for the deportation of over 1,000 Jews from the ghetto down by the Tiber and the massacre at the caves of Argentina in 1944, where 335 Italians were murdered. At any one time, there were 350 prisoners held here at Via Tasso, all of them subjected to brutal torture until they talked or they died.
Datemi i nomi dei generali badogliani. Mettetemi in condizioni di arrestarli e io garantisco la libertà a voi e l'immunità agli uomini del vostro partito. Dunque, signor Ferraris?
Verfluchter Hund!
But the physical torture is not as disturbing as the cruel psychological games played by Bergman's sidekick, Ingrid. She ensnares the morally vacuous Marina into her dark web with promises of drugs and fur coats, all in exchange for information.
Lo hanno arrestato? Sì. E che cosa gli faranno? Oh, niente di male. Abbiamo bisogno di certe informazioni. Appena le avrà dato lo lasceremo libero.
What's also fascinating about the film is how Rossellini shows that in 1944 the whole Nazi project was starting to implode, captured brilliantly in this scene.
Ganz Europa haben wir mit Leichen übersät. Und auf diese Gräber wächst unaufhaltsam der Hass. Hass, überall Hass. Wir werden vom Hass vertilgt. Ohne Hoffnung.
Genug!
The heroic Giorgio dies without revealing any secrets.
Non hai parlato.
But there's no easy martyrdom here. The power of the film is that Rossellini shows unflinchingly the brutality of the war and the toll it takes on everyone.
Raus!
In the end, the Italian firing squad refused to kill Don Pietro.
E nunc et semper et in saecula.
That is left up to the Nazi commander.
Feuer!
Io perdono
Feuer!
loro.
Mach Schluss!
There really is no film to match the power and clarity of purpose of Rossellini's masterpiece. Here was an entire country reasserting its humanity on the international stage.
Forse la strada sarà un po' lunga e difficile, ma arriveremo. E lo vedremo un mondo migliore.
Martin Scorsese called it the most precious moment in film history. But I'll leave the last word to French filmmaker Jean-Luc Godard. All roads lead to Rome, Open City.